If you've messed it up and you know it, I'm going to be giving you 8 tips to how to nail an "I'm really sorry" text message to send. I'm dating coach Hayley Quinn, and in this short video, I'm going to be giving you some advice on how you can write a really effective sorry message to someone that you've messed it up with. So the first thing here to remember is really that text messages often aren't the most effective form of communication. Perhaps this is the only channel to communication that you've got left. Perhaps they're not going to pick up a phone call from you, and they're certainly not going to meet you in person. If this is the case, I'm going to be helping you to craft a really effective "I'm sorry" message. But do know, if possible, it's so much better to meet and connect with someone in person, where you have all of the ability to use your tone of voice, your body language, and all of those other skills you have at your disposal to show just how sincere and authentic you are. Text messages are very easy to misread, but hopefully with this quick guide, you're going to be saying sorry much more effectively on messages and reopen that channel of communication. So my second tip is to acknowledge that it would actually be better to speak about this in person or on a call. So you can just say something like, "I know this would be better spoken about in person, but I really wanted to communicate with you. I really had some things I wanted to say to you." This actually also opens up a channel where it's possible that if the other person is open to having that phone call or meeting in person, that they can respond to that and suggest that you do that instead. My third tip for sending an effective "I'm sorry" message is don't try to shift the blame. If you go in there and you say anything like, "You really know how to find my sore spots," it's going to immediately come across as quite accusatory. Right now, if your goal is just to get your foot in the door, to reopen some lines of communication, do not then dissect the original argument via message. It's only going to make things more messy, and it will often sound more confrontational just because you've sent it as a text. Remember, whenever you use the word "you," like "you seem," "you were," "you always find," it's very, very easy for that to come across badly. It could sound like you're making a judgment call about the other person. It can sound accusational and will generally get the other person in totally the wrong frame of mind to be really open to what you have to say. So don't say "you," instead really focus on saying "I." Say "I think," "I feel," "I believe," "I want." This is a way that you can really take ownership of your feelings and avoid phrasing things in a way that comes across as judgmental and confrontational. My fourth tip for saying "I'm sorry" is to keep it playful where possible. Whilst often a sorry message, of course, isn't going to be the most humorous in the world, it might soften the tone of your messages to inject just a little bit of humor. Sometimes using some lightness on your messages, instead of it taking away from the seriousness of the apology, it can actually feel like you've broken this standoff of you guys being annoyed at one another, and you've given the other person the opportunity to participate in a tone in your message which is more playful and more light. It's like you're giving them an olive branch. It could be as simple as adding a PS to your sorry message that says something like, "Anyway, that's one apology down, 99 to go." So it's not there to deflect from the seriousness and the sincerity of your sorry message, but it is giving the other person opportunity to participate in a more normal, light-hearted level of communication with you and to break out of this funk of you being angry at each other. My fifth tip for saying "I'm sorry" is to keep it short and to the point. Ideally, if you have got a longer discussion to have here, as I said before, this is going to be better done in person or at least on a phone or a video call. So in order for you to get to the place where you're able to do that, you could indicate that there's lots you want to talk about, but also keep your message brief. If someone gets a message that's several pages long, it's immediately just going to feel completely overwhelming, and they may just leave you on read. So don't make it too long, didn't read. Instead, say something like, "There's lots I could say to you, but I want to keep it to this." So indicate that there's lots that you could say, but keep your message short and brief if possible. The sixth action step that I'd like you to take in order to say sorry effectively is to empathize. Now, this is the one time I think you're allowed to say you in this message, which you could say the classic, you have every right to feel. And that's really just demonstrating that you understand why they're angry and frustrated at you. It's also coming to them from a perspective where you take responsibility for your actions and you acknowledge that they have a right to feel the way that they do. And often when arguments spiral, it's because the other person simply hasn't felt heard, they haven't felt listened to, they haven't felt understood. So you really want to counter this now by showing that you really empathize with them. My 7th tip for saying I'm sorry is to wrap up your message with an action step. What would you like to see happen now? Is it as simple as saying, can we talk? ? Or can I call you? Could we meet? ? As I said before, you might not want to go into a big discussion on the actual message. You might want to keep it shorter and simpler with just your aim towards this being a stepping stone to having more meaningful in-person or on the phone communication. My final action step is if you don't think they're going to be receptive to moving this forwards towards a phone call or an in-person meet right now, a great way to wrap up your message can simply be to make a statement about the relationship. So here is your opportunity to be really open about what your intent is. This could be, our relationship is the most important thing to me, or I will learn from this and become a better person. So end with a really nice, strong action statement which shows your values and what's really important to you. If you want to become fundamentally better at understanding women, I'd love you to enroll in my free online mini training. To do that, simply head over to hayleyquinn.com/unite. The link is going to be below this video.